What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my Draftkings MMA picks for UFC 271, Israel Adesanya going against Robert Whittaker.
I need all the wins, yeah. Harder than all that is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
Really looking forward to this 15 fight slate. I'm hoping all 15 fights do stay on. So far, so good. Should be a very good card, very good main card. Definitely looking forward to it. I am doing a contest. I put it out on Twitter. It is my pinned tweet. I'm doing a free DraftKings contest to enter. Go to my Twitter, DFS_numbers. Just click the link. It is going to be free to enter that, and then the winner is going to get $25. So go check that out. And yeah, I do want to say a big thank you to all of you guys that have signed up on the website, dfsbythenumbers.com. We are up away from 100 earlier in the week, but we smashed that 100 mark. So do want to thank everybody that has signed up. And if you do want to still sign up, go to dfsbythenumbers.com. The DFS option, $10 a month. With that, you get access to my MMA model with all the stats, the MMA optimizer, the DFS article, premium projections, access to Discord, the GPP line percentages, and the targets and rankings, and much, much more. Go check that out. The link is in the description below. But we have no time to waste. We have a lot of things to talk about on this 15-fight slate. I say we get right into it. As always, with the fight doesn't go to decision lines, and I think there's going to be a lot of finishes in this fight. So, the fight doesn't go to decision lines here. The number one, Lewis Tuivasa, minus 550. Fight doesn't go to decision, which is probably one of the widest fight doesn't go to decision lines I've seen in some time. And, you can definitely see why. Both guys are finishers. Both guys can be finished. You take a look at Derek Lewis. He has a 85% finish rate. Tuivasa, a 93% finish rate. When these guys are winning, they are typically winning by knockout. Derek Lewis has been finished in 6 out of 8 losses, and Tuivasa has been finished in 2 out of 3 losses. So, again, when they're winning, it's inside the distance. When they're losing, it's inside the distance. 8,800 for Lewis, 7,400 for Tuivasa. I think the winner of this fight has a very good chance to probably, win it in the first round even. So I'm going to be high on both sides. I don't love the price tag for Lewis, 8,800, but, kind of how I see the fight playing out is Tuivasa rushing in, trying to get Lewis out of there early. I don't think that's going to work. I think Lewis catches him. So I think Lewis, if he does win, there's a good chance it is in that first round. And then Tuivasa, he's probably one of the best underdogs on the slate, because if he wins, I feel like it could be inside the distance as well. So yeah, definitely a fight you're going to want to have both sides of. No strong lean one way or another, but yeah, I like both sides here. Next we have, this is going to be the first fight of the night, and this fight doesn't go to decision line is nuts, and it is going to be Blood Diamond going against Jeremiah Wells, a fight that I want a ton of as well. And, I was really high on Wells earlier in the week, but, looking into it more, I feel like Blood Diamond could kind of surprise some people here. So you go back and watch some of this guy's fights. He only has 3 fights in MMA. I went back and watched his Dimps Gillies fight, and that was about 2 years ago, and I did not like what I saw at all. But, that was 2 years ago. I do think Blood Diamond could potentially improve a little bit. I did see some clips of him kickboxing, and he looks like an absolute killer. So, maybe he has gotten better, but from what I've seen, Blood Diamond, I'm not too high on the guy. But yeah, if Jeremiah Wells wins, I think it's going to be pretty easy. I think take down Blood Diamond. He's a black belt in BJJ, training with guys like Sean Brady, Pat Sabatini, same gym as those guys, who are coming into the UFC and making a big splash. And I feel like, he already came in, got his debut win against Warley Alves in the second round by finish. And I feel like he should roll here against Blood Diamond, but Blood Diamond, he looks very dangerous. He has very good high kicks. He kind of spams the head kicks at times as well. So either way, I think someone gets finished here. I'm very high on Wells in this spot, but I feel like Blood Diamond could surprise some people here. So I'll be playing both sides, but I'm mostly on the Wells. But I think Blood Diamond at 7,100 is not a terrible pump play, especially in a fight that is minus 450. Fight doesn't go to decision. All right, next we have Carlos Ulberg going against Fabio Cherant. Fabio Cherant, probably one of my favorite plays on the slate. I think he goes out here, Carlos Ulberg is one of my favorite plays on the slate. I think he goes out here and starches Fabio Cherant. Fabio Cherant, in 3 losses, all 3 of them have come inside the distance. And I think there's going to be a 4th one here. Carlos Ulberg, very dangerous striker, throws a ton of volume. We saw it in his debut. I just don't think Cherant's going to have anything for Carlos Ulberg if Sherant decides to come in here and wrestle and get the fight down to the mat, which is something we have not seen him do in his career, I think that could be a potential path to victory. So for that reason, I will mix in a little bit of Sherant because he does have a submission game. The wrestling has never been there, and he has never really tried to get it down to the mat, which is very weird. But he has moved camps. He's been doing some work at Fight Ready in Sanford MMA, so maybe he does come in here with a different game plan, and we have seen Carlos Ulberg slow down in the past. So you can't be 100% confident in Carlos Ulberg, but I think he does start Sherant in the first round. My ownership in this fight is going to be on Ulberg, but I don't hate some pokes on Sherant just in case he does come in here with something we have not seen before. And then Kyler Phillips, Marcelo Rojo. This is going to be a very, very fun and exciting fight. I think Phillips is the biggest favorite on the card as of now. It's pretty close between him and Casey O'Neill. He should come out here and finish Rojo. Rojo has been finished a lot, actually, but most of those losses are coming by submission. And I think that's a legit path to victory for Kyler Phillips. Get this fight down to the mat and submit Marcelo Rojo. Marcelo Rojo is very dangerous in his own right. He does hit very, very hard, but Kyler Phillips has never been finished. I'm going to be pretty high on Kyler Phillips. I think he has a really high ceiling in this fight, and I know there's a lot of options up in this 9K, but Kyler Phillips is definitely one of my favorites. Not my favorite, probably not even in my top 3, but he is one of my favorites up there in that top range. As far as Rojo, I don't hate him as a punt. This is probably going to be a war, and he's probably going to have some opportunities, but I think Kyler Phillips probably does roll here and get this done inside the distance. All right, we'll take a look at our core plays here. Ronnie Lawrence, 9,300. And yeah, so this is a guy that has landed 20 takedowns in a 2-fight sample. I think he had like 12 on the Contender Series and 8 in his debut. Going against Mono Martinez, who there's a lot of question marks about his takedown defense. I haven't seen a ton, but what I have seen is him when he does get taken down, he looks to be comfortable off his back. He's a purple belt in BJJ. He's comfortable to kind of throw up submissions, look for reversals and sweeps, and he's good at that, but I don't know if it's going to work against Ronnie Lawrence here. Ronnie Lawrence, in my opinion, has the highest ceiling on the entire slate. He's going to push a wrestling heavy pace, and he has the cardio to back it up for 15 minutes if need be. So yeah, I really like Ronnie Lawrence. The only danger is going to be that Mono Martinez does have a ton of power, but as long as he does not get knocked out, I think he puts up a massive score here. AJ Dobson, 8,200. This is a fight as a whole where I do want to target it quite a bit, especially at these 8,200, 8,000 price tag. And the reason being is AJ Dobson, this guy is a monster. He's going to come forward. He's going to try to get Malkoun out of there within the first couple minutes. All of his wins but one do come in that first round. We saw Malkoun starched by Phil Hawes in less than 30 seconds. So this is a guy in Dobson who does have that 60-second finish upside. Like, he really does. So I do want a lot of Dobson, but I can also see a scenario where Malkoun comes in here, he's able to implement the game plan he did in his last fight against Abdulrazak Al-Hassan and take down Dobson and put up a really high score in his own right. So either way, I see the winner of this fight scoring very well. I see the fight going one of two ways. Dobson stopping him early, or Malkoun racking up a ton of takedowns, a ton of control time, and probably winning decision. But yeah, give me Dobson here as a core play. I think he has a ton of upside. Jared Cannonier, 8,600, I think is another really intriguing option. I'm going to have a decent amount of this fight as a whole. Kind of the same thing as last time. I think Jared Cannonier is going to be live in really any round to find the knockout shot. I do like what I see in terms of the takedown defense of Cannonier. At middleweight, it is around 85%. I do like what I see in terms of the get-up game of Cannonier. He is very hard to hold down, and I just think on the feet, Brunson's going to be in some serious trouble. Derek Brunson's been knocked out 5 times. We've seen him hurt a ton in his last couple fights. Even in fights he's winning, he's still getting hurt. I think Cannonier puts him out, hopefully early, but I think some point in this fight, Cannonier is going to land that big shot and get Brunson out of there. For that reason, I do like Cannonier a lot. And then Carlos Ulberg, talked about a little bit, 8,900. I'm just not a big fan of Sherant. Sherant is a submission artist who doesn't go for takedowns. It's the weirdest thing. Like, on the feet, he's very low volume. He doesn't throw anything. Most of his wins are like standing guillotines, and I just don't think that's going to work at this UFC level. I think Ulberg is going to smoke him in the first round. Like I said earlier, like if Fabio Sherant comes in here with something we've never seen, which is a wrestling of a game plan, maybe he could have success there, but again, we have not seen it. So if this stays standing, I think Ulberg's going to smoke him here. All right, GPP plays here, tournament plays. Kyler Phillips, 9,400. I think he has a very high ceiling here. Going against Marcelo Rojo, who, again, he's very tough, but he can be finished, especially on the mat. I feel like if I'm Phillips here, I'm getting the fight down to the mat. I'm submitting him. I mean, Rojo's submission defense is very, very suspect. His cardio is very suspect. I think an easy path to victory would be getting this fight down to the mat and submitting Marcelo Rojo, who has been submitted like 4 times in his career. So yeah, give me Kyler Phillips here to implement that game plan. And I think it scores very well if he does fight smart. If he wants to stand and strike with Rojo, I think that's only playing into Rojo's game, and he potentially could get caught. But I think Phillips fights smart, gets it down to the mat, and submits Rojo fairly quickly there. Casey O'Neill 9,500, going to be a very popular play this week, I believe, going against Roxanne Modafferi. Roxanne Modafferi, 25% takedown defense. I don't think Roxanne is much of a threat in terms of the striking game as well. I think Casey O'Neill can get takedowns whenever she wants. I think she's going to land a lot of strikes on top, potentially finish Roxanne at some point with ground and pound as well. So yeah, I think Casey O'Neill is another fighter that has a very high ceiling. There are still some question marks with her. She is very green still on the feet. She's very hittable. I don't like her striking much, but she is facing Roxanne Modafferi, so I don't think she's going to have to worry about that here. I think Casey O'Neill is another fighter with a very high ceiling. Jeremiah Wells, 9,100, going against Blood Diamond. I think someone's getting finished in the first round, to be honest, and I think Wells has all the tools. He's probably not the better striker in terms of the technique. He kind of rushes in, throws hard shots, and it knocks guys out at times, but I feel like Wells needs to get this fight down to the mat, and I think once he gets it down, it's going to be quick work, quick first-round submission for Wells. If he wants to test his striking against Blood Diamond, that could be some trouble. Like I said, Blood Diamond has very good high kicks, and he spams them like crazy, and if one of those land, maybe Wells could go out, but I think if Wells fights smart, he has a very good chance to get a finish here and probably in the first round. And then Derek Lewis, the definition of a tournament play here. I wouldn't go there in cash, but he has the opportunity to finish Tai Tuivasa, who has been knocked out before, who has been hurt before, and we saw how easy Derek Lewis made it look against a much better fighter, in my opinion, and Chris Daukaus than Tai Tuivasa in his last fight out. It's a weird fight, but I feel like somebody probably does get finished in the first round. I'm not overly confident in Lewis, but I am confident somebody probably does get knocked out, and for that reason, I will have some Lewis at 8,800. Live dogs, Alexander Hernandez, 7,700. This is a spot where I feel like he's live for the knockout. There's not a ton of dogs that I do like, but Hernandez, I feel like if he wins, it's going to be a knockout, and it's probably in the first round. He does have 3 first-round knockouts in the UFC. When Moicano is losing, he is losing by knockout, and mind you, it's against very good guys like a Jose Aldo, like a Rafael Fiziev, guys like that, but I feel like Hernandez definitely has the power to potentially put out Moicano here. For that reason, I do have some interest in Hernandez at this price tag. Tai Tuivasa, 7,400, heavyweight fight, minus 550 fight, doesn't go to decision. You got to have both sides here. Tai Tuivasa is somebody I'm going to have in my lineups. For tournaments, like I said, I'm staying away from this fight in cash, but for tournaments, I think someone's going out. And at 7,400, if Tai Tuivasa wins, it's probably on the optimal lineup. So I do like Tai Tuivasa there at that price tag. And then Derek Brunson, 7,600. If he wins, expect a very wrestling-heavy game plan. I do not think he's going to come out here and strike with Cannonier for long. I think he's going to try to get the takedowns early and often. And if he can have success with that for 15 minutes, Derek Brunson could put up a very good score at this price tag. So yeah, I do like Derek Brunson. I personally think he gets knocked out. But if he doesn't, if he is able to wrestle and get the fight down to the mat, he could score good. So 7,600, you do have to have some Derek Brunson, I think. And then Jacob Malkoun, 8,000. It would not shock me, if he came out here and wrestled Dops into a 15-minute decision like he did in his last fight against Abdulrazak Alassane. There's not a lot of tape out there on Dobson in terms of his takedown defense, in terms of his get-up game, because he's knocking guys out early on. So there are a lot of question marks on the Dobson side. I personally think Dobson starches him in the first round, but if not, if Malkoun could take this into the second round, into the third round, I think he's very live for a win. And again, I think this fight as a whole scores very, very well. Punt Plays, there's actually like a couple of them, and I'll mention a couple more after these two. But yeah, Robert Whittaker, 7,000 is going to be the most popular one, I think. I see him having a ton of ownership. I think in my projected ownership, he's like in the 30s, which is a decent amount for a fighter down at 7K here, and rightfully so. It's a 25-minute fight, and you got 5 rounds to work with. I do think it's going to play out differently. He has some wrestling upside potentially if he does choose to go there, which I do think he will. Even in a loss, I feel like Robert Whittaker in cash is a pretty solid move as long as he does not get starched early, which again, I don't really see that happening. I do think Adesanya wins, But if I was to play one or the other on DraftKings, it's probably Robert Whittaker. There's just so many great plays up in this 9K range that I like more than Adesanya. And, down low, there's not a ton that you can get excited about, but Robert Whittaker, I don't mind. I personally think he loses, but if he does win, it's really hard to see him not finding the optimal lineup. But he will be popular, I think. And then I think Blood Diamond will gain some ownership as well, 7,100. A lot of people very high on this guy. I don't know what it is. I have not seen, much of this guy. I watched 2 MMA fights, and I was very unimpressed with both, but I have seen some clips of his kickboxing, and he does look pretty legit, and he looks, very powerful as well. It would not shock me if, Blood Diamond came out there and got a head kick knockout in the first round. Like, this is a fight that has the second best inside the distance line on the slate. Somebody's getting finished. Why not play some Blood Diamond 7,100 for fun? If he does win, it's probably very early on, and it's probably a head kick knockout. Some other pump plays that did stick out were going to be Fabio Cherant, I guess, but that's a big question mark there. Mono Martinez, if Mono Martinez wins 6,900, it's going to be by knockout. Matt Schnell is interesting, 6,600. Alex Perez has been submitted 4 times. Matt Schnell's a very good submission game. I'm staying away from Roxanne Modafferi. So those would be the ones I'd look at. Marcelo Rojo is very dangerous, but Phillips never been knocked out. And then Robert Whittaker we talked about. In terms of the other dogs I was looking at, I think that Vandera's interesting as a very low-owned underdog play at 7,900. Arlovsky's been finished so many times, and he is getting up there at age. I personally think Arlovsky wins the decision, but Vandera at 7,900 is interesting. So those are the kind of dogs I'm looking at. William Knight as well is very dangerous. He is sitting at 7,500, so I don't hate that as well. But yeah, I think that is going to be about it. All right, so we'll get into the fate. Andrei Arlovsky, he hasn't finished anybody, I think 6 or 7 years, and I don't see him finishing Vandera, who is very tough. I think if Arlovsky does win, it's going to be by decision. Probably a very boring one as well. I just don't see much reason to get to Arlovsky this week at 8,300. And other than that, fades, I think, most are in play. I'm not going to have a ton of Adesanya. I feel like Adesanya is going to win the fight. I like so many other guys up in that range, and, girls, Casey O'Neill as well. So I don't think I'm going to get much Adesanya, but I'm not going to completely fade him. But Arlovsky, I'm probably going to completely fade for the most part. But yeah, guys, that is about it. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe. That's much appreciated. Go check out the Twitter, DFS_numbers. Check out my pinned tweet, and feel free to join the free DraftKings contest, $25 to first for the winner. Again, that is on my Twitter, DFS_numbers. Sign up for the website. The optimizer is all uploaded with the projections, the ownership projections, the lineup percentages, and the rankings will be out soon. The stats are all there. Everything's all there. So yeah, check out dfsbythenumbers.com. Patreon's still up and running as well if you do prefer the Patreon as well. But yeah, that's about it, guys. Good luck. Should be a fun slate. Let's win some money. We'll talk to you very soon. See you guys.